everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am tired. It is so early, but I need to get some of this Valentine's Day prepping, like food prepping done. So here we are. If you guys haven't seen the Valentine's Day basket video, I will link it down below. That last video was just me putting together baskets for my girls, my husband, my mom, and then making these guava pastries for my mom, which are her favorite. So that's gonna be like their gift for today. But instead of going out, because I hate going out on Valentine's Day, it is so crazy packed everywhere. I just don't like it. We're gonna do a very cutesy little intimate dinner at home. So I have the menu here. I'm gonna go over with you. The font is like 700 on this thing. It's because I printed it out from like the notes tab on my phone directly to the printer. I did not know that the font was this big, but at the end of the day, as long as I have it written down, then I'm fine. So I'm gonna go over this with you and start prepping some of the food. I will be honest, I do get a little bit stressed out with these videos, and I'm trying to get better at it because I really enjoy, I enjoy these videos, but they also stress me out, if that makes sense. I think the effort and planning that goes into a video where you're showing what you're cooking and there's a lot of different pieces can be a little bit stressful, but I also want to be able to show you guys some of the things that I'm cooking because I love to cook and I love to bake. So yeah, that is that for today. So let's go over the menu really quick and get started. So I normally don't do chicken with like skin on it. It is like a rare treat, I want to say. First of all, I really don't like chicken like that to begin with, but I know my mom does and the girls and my husband do. So today we're gonna do like a crispy lemon garlic kind of cilantro chicken in the oven so that it comes out really nice and crispy. I also want to make cilantro rice, and I saw this recipe from Acre Homestead. She did like a street corn salad with roasted corn and it looked really good, but I also saw a different recipe where it's a little bit more to the recipe of like the cheese that you get from like those food trucks that has like the corn that you get from the food trucks that has like the Mexican cheese on it, like the Cotija cheese. So I think I'm gonna marry the two together. Hold on, is my dog crying? Go outside. I left her in the room by mistake. Anyway, and then I also want to make this pasta salad that is like a cold pasta salad that my girl's grandmother, paternal grandmother does. So she does it like at every party. I don't know what to call this, so we're gonna call this WITA'S pasta salad because that's what my girls call their grandmother. They call her Wita for like abuelita in Spanish. So we're gonna do WITA'S pasta salad, and I'm very excited for that because the girls absolutely love that, and I just never thought to get the recipe from her so that I could try to make it for them at home. And then for dessert, I came across this video on TikTok of a mascarpone Nutella whip puff pastry with strawberries and powdered sugar. It looks so good. The girls love Nutella. I am not a huge Nutella fan, but I want something that they're really gonna enjoy. And then my mom, she can either have that. She's not a huge chocolate person, but I also made her little guava pastries. So this is what they look like. They're in little heart shapes, very, very cute. All right, so let's get started on this. I meant to do a lot of the prepping yesterday and I just did not get a chance to do it. But first things first, we're gonna put up this hair, wash our hands, and I think what I'm gonna do is get the oven preheating for the roasted corn and get a pot of salted water on the stove to boil for the elbow macaroni for the pasta salad. And then I think we're just gonna start chopping up all of the veggies and things that are gonna go in the WITA'S pasta salad and the street corn pasta salad, and then take it from there. Don't get me wrong, I love having long hair, but with this Florida heat, it is not it right now. So let's get this oven preheated to, I'm gonna say 400. I also got out this super heavy cast iron enamel machine, or oh my gosh, this is not my morning. Enamel cast iron pan. Because for the WITA'S pasta salad, there is bacon and ham that we're gonna cook. So yeah, so let me get all of the stuff out of the fridge and get to prepping all these veggies. Okay, so if you hear that super loud noise, that is just like the water on the stove. I don't know why it's being so loud. So before I get started, let me just read over the recipe that she sent me super quickly because I don't remember and it is in Spanish. So Okay, so now that I have a little better understanding of what it is that I'm doing, I'm gonna get started on cutting up the bacon and the ham for this pasta salad. But before I do that, I'm going to line a small baking sheet with parchment paper, put the corn on there, and then drizzle it with olive oil, salt, pepper, so that I can get that ready to go into the oven once it comes up to temperature. And the reason that you crinkle this is just so that it can lay flat a little bit better. I have never made this salad before, so I am so curious to see how it turns out. I know my mom absolutely loves like the Mexican street corn. There used to be a food truck that we would stop at when I was younger, and it was so freaking good because they slather it with mayonnaise and then they put their cheese on it, like the Cotija cheese. So I'm gonna drizzle this with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, salt, pepper, keep it simple, and then put this into the oven as soon as it comes to temperature. So I'm gonna set this aside, put this on the other counter so that we can start chopping up our bacon and sausage, or not sausage, ham. So she didn't say how many pieces of bacon or how much ham, so I'm just gonna guesstimate over here, and I'm sure it'll turn out fine. 4 slices of bacon. And also I'm gonna put the cast iron pan to start heating up. Since the water's boiling, I'm gonna add in the elbow macaroni, and I'm gonna do 2 cups. I know that this is something that the girls will definitely eat, so if we have leftovers, that's totally fine. So I think that should be enough. Let's call that good. Slightly cover that. And let's move on to chopping the bacon and the ham. I feel like I'm gonna need a little bit more bacon. I feel like I should grab out more bacon. I feel like it should be maybe like another 2 slices and do 6. So I'm gonna do that, but before I grab those bacon slices out, I'm gonna put the corn in the oven and set the timer for 20 minutes. And it's going on the top rack. So I'm gonna see if I can slice it down the middle first. Kind of, good enough. And then slice it into little tiny cubes. I honestly don't even remember this having bacon in it, but we also haven't had it in quite some time. All right, so let's add this into the pot and get this started while we cut the ham. She didn't say how much ham, so I am going to also I don't know, maybe I'll just do them both. My girls, I know that they're not going to be upset about this having like an extra bit of meat in it. They're definitely little carnivores, they love meat. So I think I'm just gonna do them both. And then worst case, I made too much meat and I need more pasta, I will just boil up a little bit more pasta, but I think we should be good. I'm gonna try to get these super small. I'm running out of space here. Okay, there we go. So let's add this in as well. And while I'm here, I'm just gonna stir this pasta up a little bit so that it does not get stuck to the bottom. All right, so while that cooks on the stove, and I'm sorry if you hear that noise, that is the vent. I had it going since I have 2 things like steaming on my stove. I'm gonna get started on cutting up all of the veggies for that street corn salad. It only calls for red onion, jalapeno, garlic cloves, and cherry tomatoes. So that is what I'm going to chop up, put it into this bowl, and then set it aside, put it in the fridge so that when it is time, I can put it all together. Oh, also cilantro. And then I'll put it in the fridge, leave it to the side, and then once the roasted corn is done and cooled and I cut everything off of the cob, then we can mix it all together. And all I'm gonna do is just slice these tomatoes in half. Okay, so my camera battery died, but I didn't do much. All I did was chop up most of those tomatoes, half of a large jalapeno, a quarter of a very large red onion, and 4 garlic cloves. It's at 3. I threw an extra one in for good measure, and that's what I have here. The pasta did finish cooking, so I went ahead and strained it, and I have it in the strainer right now. So let's go ahead and start assembling this pasta salad. I think what I'm going to do, let me take you with me. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to move all of the ham from the pan that it's in into the pan that I was cooking the pasta salad in, just so that I have more space to mix everything. This thing is super heavy and the handle is hot, but I do have all of the cooked bacon and ham back here, so I'm just gonna start spooning it into this pot here. I did check on the corn in the oven and it is still going, so I'm gonna let it cook for a little bit longer. Let's see. Let me get out these last little bits. So this is what she is looking like. Now, my mother-in-law said to add some sofrito, adobo, pepper, and a little bit of butter, saute that, and then add in the pasta. So that's what we're gonna do. Let me show you what all of that is. So here I have some homemade sofrito. If you don't have homemade sofrito, you can always just buy it in the frozen like international section of like Walmart or Publix. I think Target even has it. I just have homemade one. It's super easy to make. If you want to know how to make it, just let me know in the comments down below. So I'm gonna add this into the pot. I'm gonna turn it back on. And then she said to add a little bit of adobo. I don't cook with this a ton, but I am gonna cook with it today. So I'm gonna add some of this in here. She didn't say how much. None of this entire recipe, there are no actual measurements. You're gonna measure with your heart. And she did say black pepper, so let me grab that. And let's add in, I really like black pepper, so I'm gonna add in a decent amount. And then she also said butter, so I'm gonna cut just a little chunk of butter and throw that in there. I'm gonna say about this much. And then I'm gonna mix this all together, put the lid on it, and let that cube of sofrito melt in here. All right, so this is just about done. Guys, it smells so good. If you hear some extra noise, that's just my husband in the background. So what I did was I got a larger bowl. This is what I'm gonna serve it in. So I figured I would just go ahead and mix everything in here and not inside of a hot pan. So I'm gonna transfer the ham and the bacon into this bowl and then add in the elbow pasta, and then we'll take it from there. I love the smell of bleach. So this is what she's looking like, and my mother-in-law's instruction says that once this is done, you combine the pasta salad to add in a little bit of milk, mayonnaise, and a little more butter. I don't think I'm gonna add in any more butter because I feel like this has a sufficient amount of fat in it. So I'm gonna add in some mayonnaise. I have heavy whipping cream, so I figured that would be fine. A little bit of heavy whipping cream. I'll mix it up, taste it, and see if it needs any adjustments, and then we're done with this. Hopefully it tastes good because there's no measurements. They don't measure.
They don't do measurements. Yeah, I know.
So if I had to guess, I'm gonna say about a cup, maybe a little bit more of mayonnaise for this amount of pasta. And then she said a little bit of milk, so I'm gonna add in maybe like a tablespoon's worth, 2 tablespoons, like 1. All right, so now that she's all mixed up, I will say that this definitely has a lot more meat than how my mother-in-law usually makes it, which is my fault, but also it's totally fine because the girls and my husband like bacon, they like ham, so it should be fine. So I'm just gonna clean the rim of this bowl, add some plastic wrap, and then put this into the fridge, and we're done with the first side. So it is a few hours later. I ran a few errands with my husband, picked up some flowers for the girls and for my mom. Now I'm getting back, and I am like on crunch time to try to get all of this done so that we can have dinner around 5:30ish. So before I left, I took the corn out of the oven. I left it cooling. So now I'm just going to cut all of that corn off of the cob, add it to the bowl that we have all of the veggies. And I'm trying to decide if I want to follow the Acre Homestead recipe or if I want to combine the two. The Acre Homestead recipe called for lime juice and queso fresco, which is like a crumbling cheese. But the other recipe calls for half sour cream, half mayonnaise, and then the cotija cheese, which is traditionally what is in like street corn. So I'm not entirely sure, but let's get this corn off of the cob into here, and then we can move on to the next step. Oops. So now that I have that done, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the next step, which is to wash and chop up all of this cilantro. I'm gonna need it for this salad, I'm gonna need it for the chicken, and then also for the rice. So I'm gonna wash 2 bunches of it, chop it up, and then just distribute it where I need it. And I'm gonna take about this much and add it to this street corn salad. The recipe called for a 1/2 cup of sour cream and a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise, so I'm just going to combine the two into a 1 cup measuring cup and then add it in. Wait, I think. I'm gonna take the juice of 1 lemon and add it in, or 1 lime. And the very last step is to add some of this cheese. I found this at Walmart, but I'm pretty sure you can find it at your local grocery store. I'm gonna add in a 1/2 cup and then mix it around and go from there, but I would say between 1/2 cup and 1 cup. And you don't wanna add any salt or any other seasonings until you add this cheese in because it is salty. So you might not need to add anything in after all. I'm gonna give it a quick taste and see if it's good or if it needs anything. I think it's good on the cheese. I think what I do wanna add though is another lime, and then we should be good. So I just took a taste. It is so freaking good. I'm gonna make sure to leave all of the recipes down below, so please make sure to look there if you wanna recreate this. I'm gonna go ahead and just clean the rim of the bowl, put some plastic wrap, and then put this in the fridge, and we have 2 things off of our list done. So we only have 2 more things on the list. I just put the rice to cook. I didn't show it because it's just rice in a rice cooker. I just added a handful of cilantro. That's the only difference. But I really do need to get started on this chicken. I'm not a fan of handling chicken, so I'm gonna put some gloves on. So what I got for chicken was chicken breasts with the skin on and chicken thighs. But I also have just 1 plain skinless, boneless chicken breast for myself because like I said before, I'm not a super big fan of chicken. So I'll have that one and I'll give the other ones to my family. Yeah, this is definitely not my favorite, but my family really do like chicken, so I will do it for them. These chicken breasts are massive. So all I'm doing is just trimming off some of the extra fat, and then we're gonna season them up, and I'm gonna leave them covered in the fridge probably for about an hour or so. I really wanted to do this last night, but like I said, I just didn't have the time or the energy, so it is quite all right. I'm sure it's still gonna taste delicious. So this is the last chicken breast, and then I'm just gonna grab mine. So hopefully you guys have a good view here, but I think I'm gonna do like a cilantro lime chicken to kind of go with everything else. So I wash my hands with the gloves on, but I'm gonna add some adobo. as well as some onion powder, garlic powder, pepper. I'm also going to add just a tiny bit of extra virgin olive oil. And since I am running a little bit short on time, instead of using fresh garlic, I'm just going to use some garlic. And then the last bit is to add in this cilantro that I have left. And then just get your hands in there and mix it all together. And I almost forgot to add in the lime, so I'm gonna do that now. And then I'm just gonna cover this with plastic wrap and put it in the fridge, maybe for an hour and a half. I think I wanna start cooking this around 4:30 so that dinner could be ready around 5:30. And I'm gonna say it's gonna take me a good hour to cook these in the oven. So now finally I am on to the very last thing. I am so excited because I thought that I wasn't gonna have enough time to get everything done, but I think I should be okay. The very last thing is gonna be the dessert, and this one I am excited but a little nervous as well. I have never worked with mascarpone before. I've heard that it's kind of like a cream cheese, so we'll see how that goes, but it's gonna be a puff pastry tart with a mascarpone Nutella whip layered with strawberries, powdered sugar. It looks really, really good. So hopefully that's the case. I just took out the puff pastry, so it is still frozen, but while this is coming to room temperature, thawing out a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and wash all the strawberries and slice them up, and at least I'll have that portion of the dessert done. If you hear a bunch of crunching, that is my pups. They're eating their food. But I cut up all the strawberries. I took out the puff pastry and I put it on a cookie sheet. So now I'm just gonna show you how I score it. I'm gonna turn the oven on, preheated to 350. Do a quick egg wash on this, pop it into the oven, and while that is baking, I'm gonna get started on the mascarpone Nutella, which I'm very, very interested. I actually wanna try some of this just to see what it tastes like. So yeah, let me bring you down here so that I can show you how I'm gonna score this puff pastry. According to the video, you just make like that. And what this does is once it cooks in the oven and it puffs up, you're able to smash just the middle part down, so that way we can layer the filling and then the strawberries on top. So I've done this once before with like copycat Starbucks pumpkin cheesecake puff pastries. So, and there you have it. Are you eating her leftovers from Italia? It's like you're chunky. I'm going to brush the edges with this egg wash and then pop it into the oven for about probably 12 minutes. And I'm wondering, I'm probably gonna do 2 of them just so that there's enough for the girls, my husband, myself, and my mother. Better to have more than to not have enough, in my opinion. So I'm gonna pop this into the oven at 350 for about 12 minutes. So on to the part that I am most curious about, which is the mascarpone Nutella whip that we're gonna have on top of the puff pastry. I've never had mascarpone before. They say that it tastes like cream cheese, so I'm gonna take a little bit and taste it and see if that's true. It does not taste like cream cheese at all. To me, this tastes like a solidified heavy whipping cream without the sugar, like instead of turning it into whipped cream, you just kind of churn it and solidify it. That's what this tastes like to me. It definitely does not taste like cream cheese. It's not bad at all. It tastes pretty good. It's just there's no sweetness to it. So it tastes like heavy whipping cream. So you're gonna use an entire 8-ounce container of this mascarpone. We're supposed to whip it first and then add in the Nutella and heavy whipping cream. So I have my mascarpone. Let me take it over to the other side so that I can whip it, and then we're gonna add in about half a cup of Nutella. So this is the consistency of it after about maybe 3 minutes or so. I did go ahead and add in the 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream into this, so it kind of has the consistency of a whipped cream. Now what I'm gonna do is add half of this jar of Nutella into this and continue to whip it, and then we should be done for the filling. Alright guys, so I whipped everything up. This is what it's looking like. It tastes really, really good. I had my husband taste it and he also said that it tasted good. I feel like now we're in the home stretch of things. I'm going to transfer this into a smaller bowl and put it in the fridge for now. Wait for this puff pastry to come out, cool a little bit, and then I will show you how I assemble everything. So I went ahead and took this one out of the oven and I popped the other one in. What I'm gonna do now before it completely cools is push down on this center part, which is where the filling and the strawberries are gonna go. And I'm gonna set this aside and let it cool completely before adding everything else and then popping it into the fridge. So I have the puff pastry, it is completely cool. So let me show you how to put this all together. And I have a little guest right down here. Say hi, Talia. She wants to go outside, that's why she's standing here. So I'm just gonna spoon a good amount of this mixture right in the center. I think I'm gonna try to do like half and half. And then you're just going to spread it all out. I can already tell that my girls are gonna love this. Who knows, my mom might surprise me. She might like this too, since it's not such a strong chocolate flavor. And I'm not even a huge Nutella person, but this does taste pretty dang good if I do say so myself. So I took the other one out of the oven and I put the oven up to 375 so that I can get the chicken on the wire racks and then get them in the oven. I think it's gonna take about an hour to cook, so I will do that as soon as I'm done with this. But this is what we're working with so far. Now you're gonna grab your strawberries and you're just gonna layer them all over. You don't have to be super precise about it. Doesn't have to be anything super fancy, as long as you cover the space with strawberries. Okay, there we go. Nothing too crazy. You're just gonna pile on the strawberries. Now to make it super cute, we're gonna grab some powdered sugar and dust the top of it, and then this will be done. I'm gonna pop it into the fridge and I will bring it back out when it is time to serve. So let me go grab that powdered sugar and show you what the final product looks like. I'm going to lay a kitchen towel underneath so that way I can just shake it off in the sink when I'm done. And if you saw the guava pastry video with the Valentine's Day basket, same method. I'm using this little tiny tea strainer, filling it up with some powdered sugar, and then tapping it against my hand as I cover the entire tart. Whoop, put a little bit less. And there you have it. I will have to let you know how this tastes. I'll put it up on the screen once I try it, but I think my family is really gonna enjoy this. The very last thing I'm gonna do is lay out my chicken. I'm gonna put it in the oven at 375 for about an hour or until the internal temperature reaches 160. And at the very end, I will probably put it on the top rack, broil it so that the skin gets really nice and crispy. And the reason why we're putting it on wire racks is so that it crisps up underneath as well as on the top. These are some huge pieces of meat. This is what she's looking like. Let's pop her in the oven. And let's set the timer for an hour. There we go. All right guys, so what I'm gonna do now is clean up my kitchen, clean up my dining room table, get everything ready so that my husband can go pick up my mom pretty soon. I will show you guys what the final plate looks like. I will probably insert a clip of it over me talking just because I know that I'm gonna be super busy. I have to finish cleaning up, but I also need to put together the little flower arrangements that I got for the girls and my mother. So I will show you guys what the plate of food looks like, and I will show you kind of how I just set up the little table. I'm just gonna put the gifts on our little buffet table in the dining room, and I will show you guys that little setup in a little bit. But yeah, that is everything that I have for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed kind of like a little sneak peek into my day and the little things that I try to do just to make the holidays special for my family. It's nothing crazy. I'm just cooking a home-cooked meal with an extra special little dessert. They have a little basket with some goodies in it. Nothing too crazy, but I know that this is really important and really special for them and also for my mother, and I genuinely enjoy doing these types of things. So thank you for joining me on today's video. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you here, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye friends.